Hey sis, welcome to Girl We Got This. I have an incredible sister here with me today. It's Les of the Balanced Black Girl podcast. Let me tell you one thing. You're going to learn how to be balanced today for sure. You're going to learn how she got up from her lowest lows. You're going to learn about relationships. You're going to learn about friendships. You're going to learn about how to get back up when you're falling. And I think that's the key to this podcast today. There's so many alternatives. There's so many things that we can do. Let's do it together. I can't wait for you to listen to this podcast. Sis, Les is with me. She's beautiful, as you can see. She's so talented and she's such a giver. I mean, her podcast, why can't I say it? The Balanced Black Girl podcast.
Yeah, it is a mouthful.
Yeah, it is a mouthful.
The alliteration. I love alliteration, but I get tongue-tied.
Yeah.
I do too.
But I love the title. It's the Balanced Black Girl podcast. And it just wasn't rolling off my tongue. I'm like, yo, why can't I say this? She's the host of the Balanced Black Girl podcast, and it's incredible. She's literally on 61 episodes.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to hear about it.
Thank you.
I mean, the aesthetic, the message, what you're giving and providing to this community is beyond.
Thank you.
Like, it's killer, Les, honestly.
I appreciate that.
But I got to tell people where we met because I met Les quickly at an expo.
Yeah.
It was
Beauty.
Yeah, the Beauty Expo.
Mm-hmm.
I was speaking at it, and this beautiful girl full of curls walks up to me. So I'm there with my curly, with my hats. So I'm like, oh, she's beautiful. Like, I'm thinking hats, hair. And then she was so sweet and so kind. And she was like, hey, I would love to meet you, talk with you. So I admired that from the jump, you know, and you told me you just moved to LA.
Yeah.
So tell me the journey of getting to LA, because I know you're newbie here.
Yes.
So tell me, how did you get here?
How'd I get here? So it's
Why
funny.
did you come here?
It's like a 20-year journey to get to LA, which is very funny.
Whoa.
I came to
You
LA
look
for
20,
the first
by the way.
time. God bless you. I came to LA for the first time when I was 9 years old with a friend of mine from elementary school. She actually had a very serious medical condition and was a part of the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And her wish was to meet Tia and Tamara from Sister Sister.
Shut
like
up.
every good 90s child.
Dude, that's the best show ever.
It was the best. So that was her wish, was to meet Tia and Tamara's Sister Sister. And so I got to come down to LA with her mom, her grandma. We went to a live taping of Sister Sister, met Tia and Tamara.
That's sweet.
So that was my first time in LA.
Ever.
I grew up in Seattle. Yes.
Wow, what
first
a
time
cool
down
experience.
here. Yeah. And
Were you like, oh my God, I love you, Tia Tamara? Was it like fan shock?
yeah. I was like,
That was a shit
Stunned.
growing up.
I was their biggest fangirl. So I was stunned.
I can only imagine.
It was literally my favorite childhood memory.
Wow.
For sure.
How incredible. You got to share it with your girlfriend.
Yeah.
That's special. That's super sweet.
It was really beautiful.
That's awesome.
And I went home and I told my parents, like, I really like LA. I'm gonna move there when I grow up.
So where are you from originally?
Seattle.
Seattle.
Yes.
Seattle girl in the
Seattle,
house. Shout out to
Washington.
Seattle.
Pacific Northwest. And I came home, told my parents when I grow up, I'm going to move to LA. And I just never really let it go. Like
Really?
It was just always from then on, like that's what I was going to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
After that, Tia and Tamara.
After Tia and Tamara did it for me. They sold it.
I'm actually about that.
I
Tia
mean,
and Tamara would have done it for me too, actually, because they were it. They were the
they
girl.
were everything.
Literally.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I think I did. I mean, I always loved this city. I loved how vibrant it was. I loved the weather. As much as I love my home in the Pacific Northwest,
Right.
it never felt like home. It just felt
Really?
like that's where I was.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why Seattle never felt like home?
I've always felt so different than
Yeah.
everybody there.
Yep. I feel
People in the Pacific Northwest can be great, but they can also be a little bit more passive, a little bit less social, more outdoorsy. Like those are just
Yes.
not ways that I would describe myself.
Right.
And I would always meet people and they go, oh, I can't believe you're from Seattle. You're so different than people from Seattle. Because I would like,
Yeah.
talk to them and be warm and friendly.
Oh, see, I've never been to Seattle, so I don't know that vibe.
Yeah. So it's not that people aren't friendly,
Yeah.
but people are not very outgoing. Like they will not talk to people they don't know. It takes a very long time for people to warm up to you there.
That's some city shit.
Yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
like New York. I get that. Okay.
Mhm.
I feel that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's not you.
And that
at
just
all.
was never
Yeah.
me. And I just never, I was like never really into the mountains. I was never into the rain. I was like, I want to go to the beach. I want palm
Girl, I'm with you.
trees.
The sun, the heat.
Yes.
all the time.
Exactly.
So LA was it.
I got a taste of it and I was like, yep, that's it.
Wow. So you moved down here 6 months ago.
Yes.
What was that like? Did you drive down?
I drove down.
By yourself?
With my parents. They came
that's
down.
nice.
It's really sweet.
That's really nice.
Yeah. It was sweet.
So did you know where you wanted to live? Like, because I know people that want to move to LA, it's always like a really cool story. It's like a journey.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Did you already have everything planned out, or did you like stay with a friend? How did you do it?
I had it planned out, but it was literally one of my greatest manifestations. So
Really?
I had been for about 8 years saying, next year I'm going to move to LA. And every year I would come up with an excuse for why it's not going to happen. And finally, New Year's Eve, 2018 going into 2019, I was like, I'm tired of saying next year, blah, blah, blah. This is going to be the year I'm going to do it. So I called up my friend who's a professional organizer. I was like, Claire, can you help me start cleaning out my closets, cleaning out my pantries? I was like, I'm relocating this year. Oh, wow. I had no plan for how I was going to do it. Like, I had no idea, but
whoa, so you just had a click.
I had
something
a click.
Clicked in you.
Yeah.
2018.
And I started getting rid of stuff. I just started like paring down my wardrobe, selling furniture.
Wow,
like I started.
Purge.
Yeah.
To LA.
Yeah. I was like, it's happening. My lease ended in Seattle at the end of August. And I had a few events over the summer that I was coming down here for in June and July. And so I was like, okay, perfect timing. I'm going to be able to scout neighborhoods, find an apartment. So I was down here in June for that first event, staying with a friend, kind of looking at neighborhoods, trying to get a feel for things. Right. And another friend of mine who lived in LA had posted on Instagram how she was looking for a roommate.
I love that.
And was like, reach out to me for more info. So I hit her up and I'm like, girl,
I need a roommate.
I want to be a roommate. Like, what's the deal?
Yeah, totally.
And she was just like, here's the deal on the apartment. It's yours. Like, if you want it, move in. And so
that's sick.
That was it. It came together just like that.
See, I love stories like that because I always, coming to LA, there's always a story.
Yep.
It's no one-way path. There's no like, I'm in LA.
Yep.
It's always a journey. And like my girlfriend or my friend or I found, it's always like this really cool journey of coming to LA. And I think that holds some special place in everybody's heart because getting to LA is not easy.
No.
It's never an easy task to get to the city. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
But it's the journey of getting here and then being here and then owning living here.
Yep.
How do you feel after 6 months?
Process. So good. I love it. I mean, I've just really loved it. It's felt like home. I feel like I've settled in. I'm definitely still in the community building phase. I think anytime you move to a new city, that's probably the hardest part. But I mean, if I spent 30 years of my life in Seattle and 6 months here, I don't expect to have the community here that I had there, you know?
But I think that's incredible. That's a great point. Building community. Because there's probably a lot of women watching this, I'm sure, that probably just moved to LA or New York City. What do you do to build community?
Yeah.
What have you done?
Yeah. So I've gone to a lot of events, just like that expo. I heard about it.
Yes.
Maybe the day before. I think Shantae had posted about it. And I was like, well, I'm free tomorrow. I'll go.
I love that.
And I go to a lot of events just like that. And I make it my goal to try to meet one new person who I would love to connect with. And then I actually follow up with them. Yeah. That's the hard part, is the follow up. Is I'll be like, hey, let's grab coffee. Let's go on a walk. Let's go on a hike. And like following up and doing that, I've actually started making a pretty solid group of friends.
That's actually dope.
Yeah.
You know, I was just talking to my girlfriend about this yesterday. We were at a luncheon. And sometimes I'm like, I got to get in like network mode. Like I want to meet somebody. Like you said, like you have to make it a goal.
Yep.
Some days I'm in it. Some days I'm out of it. Some days I just want to chill and just be present. But every time I leave, I'm like, damn, I wish I would have talked to her. She was so dope, or she was so cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think what you do there by setting a goal and following up is the key.
Yep. And I make it easy. Just one person. Like I'm truly an introvert. I don't need to work the room at every event. But if I meet one dope person and follow up with them, that's good enough.
I love that. And the fact that you said you're an introvert, because my sister's an introvert and she needs to hear this story and she needs this advice right now. Because she'll call me and she'll be like, I need you to come to this event with me. You know why? Because she wants me to talk to everyone. I'll talk to anyone and everyone all day long, you know? But like introverted women and men, they need to learn little like tools like this that'll help.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So you don't have to be overly extroverted. You can make it simple and sweet.
Yep.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so dope. So it's been successful for you.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Thank you.
So the birth of the Balanced Black Girl podcast, it originated in Seattle.
Yes.
Tell me all about it. Why did you start it?
Yes. So I actually started off as a fitness blogger.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes,
Your
I was a
body is
fitness
banging,
blogger.
so I get it.
God bless you. I was a personal trainer for years, about 5 years. And I kind of built a personal training career on the side of my like corporate communications and finance career. That's what I've done kind of this whole time. And I started a fitness blog back in 2014 that started growing, where I would share workouts, recipes, did kind of the Instagram thing. Like I did all of that. And I did that for a number of years and started building an audience. And
Can I ask what your handle was?
Yeah, it's so embarrassing.
What is it?
It was Balanced Berry, because my blog was called The Balanced Berry. And I don't people ask me all the time, like, is your last name Berry?
Yeah,
Do you like berries? I'm like, no, I don't know. I like alliteration. So I wanted another word that started with B.
I love it. Dude, look, we've all had handles, okay? That's how I was like, oh, I'm the handle.
Yes, exactly. It was Balanced Berry. And in 2018, I just had a rocky year. 2018 and 2019, I had like a rocky couple of years. I had everything from getting laid off to my job, to having a really tough breakup, to my grandmother passing away. Like I just had, you name it, health scares, you name it, I had it happen kind of between, yeah.
Wow.
And it was a lot. And I decided that I wanted to take a break from working in fitness because I was burnt out of it. I was burnt out of working out all the time. I was burnt out of caring so much about what my body looked like. It was hard as a personal trainer to have clients and constantly be working with everyone else's body image issues. I just needed to take a break.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you had your own issues with your body as a fitness instructor.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Is that common?
Oh, yeah. In the fitness industry, for sure.
How do you even combat that? I mean, you guys have, when I think about it, your body has to be on
like
point.
Your business card.
Yeah. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So was it hard for you
to
maintain that?
Totally.
I've never thought about that, Les.
Oh, yeah. My body image was the lowest when I was working in fitness.
Wow.
Because I equated how my body looked with how successful I was going to be.
Because it makes sense. You're a fitness trainer.
Yeah.
You're on Instagram. Your platform is about your body.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
So your life probably became all about your image, your body image.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got sick of it.
That's so crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Did you deal with anything ever, like any sicknesses or any disorders?
No, thankfully.
Yeah,
thankfully, I never had
I'm
eating
so
disorder.
Thankful for that.
Yeah.
I know some of my friends that have had it, and I'm just always like, wow. Yeah. You know, it's one of those things that we all need to talk about more of.
Mm-hmm.
I think body image and body dysmorphia, it's something that we as women really need to start bringing to the table.
Absolutely.
Now, because it's sad.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And what we see in society and media, a lot of it's filtered and not real and photoshopped and Snapchatted and all this stuff. And it's just like, it's not real, guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's so interesting to me. Wow. So
yeah. And especially for our next generation. I mean, I think about people our age, it's like we came up with social media a little bit later. It wasn't really until like college where social media really became a thing. But for these young girls now who are looking at Instagram and they're 10, 11 years old, it's just being implanted so much earlier, these thoughts. And it's,
oh, I can't even. That's a whole other podcast. Yeah, literally. Okay. So let's get back to Fitness Berry.
Back to Balanced Berry and how it turned into Balanced Black Girls. So by 2018, I had just had enough. I was like, I'm going to take a break from fitness. I ended working with all of my clients. I had totally stopped posting on social media. I was like, I just need to take a break. And while I was taking my social media break, I was getting these messages from women saying, hey, Les, I know you're taking a break right now, but you're the only person I see who looks like me who's interested in fitness. Or when I look for people who are doing the wellness thing, you're the only Black girl that I see. And so I'll appreciate when you come back, basically. And I was getting these messages over and over, kind of at the same time that I went from being a creator of wellness things to trying to be more of a consumer of it and practice my own self-care.
Right.
And I was going to all these events, realizing that I was the only woman of color in the room. And I'm like, something's not matching. Like, I know so many other women of color who care so much about their health, who want to be a part of this, but they're not being included in these conversations.
Interesting.
And so it hit me one day. I was like, that's what I need to do. Like, I need to start having more conversations about this. And I was like, I'm burnt out of fitness and wellness content, but maybe I can create something to introduce my audience to other women of color who are creating that content. And
that's cool.
Yeah, that's how it was born.
That is so cool. You found something that was lacking and you knew that there was an answer. So you gave your community the answer they've been looking for.
Yeah.
Through Balanced Black Girl.
Yeah.
That is so dope. Do you think there's a reason why, women of color can't find other women of color interested in health and wellness? Is there really a lack in that, or is it just they're not looking hard enough?
I don't think there's a lack of interest. I definitely do think that there is a lack of representation in a lot of the major platforms. Yeah. You go to like the really big wellness platforms and you look at who they're featuring, or even if you just Google like fit woman, happy woman, yoga, like you will see images of smiling, thin, white women. Yeah. So anybody who is not that is like, okay, well, I'm interested in this, but this isn't for me. Yeah. Right?
They can't identify with anybody. There's no representation.
Exactly. Yeah, and so then when you see somebody who looks more like you or who has shared an experience more similar to yours, that makes you think, okay, cool, I can do it because I see that person doing it, I know I can do it. I know it's for me as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's true. This whole inclusivity right now and representation, it really matters. And it needs to be driven more than ever. So how dope it is that you created Balanced Black Girl to drive this inclusivity. So fucking cheers to you, dude. Thanks for doing that, honestly. Because I know there's so many, your platform is great. You have an incredible following. I listened to one of the podcasts and they're fun and they're entertaining, but you're learning always in wellness from women of color.
Yeah.
And it's so important. Yeah. I feel like community needs community.
Yeah.
And in my experience, I just find, like you said, if I don't see somebody that looks like me, it's kind of hard to relate. And it's not saying that just because I'm mixed or I look like this, I can't relate to a white woman. You know what I mean? Because I can relate to a white woman in other ways too. However, there's just something about inclusivity and representation that needs to be more noticeable.
Totally. Like there's always going to be a piece that's missing, right? Like I was consuming a lot of self-care content that was created by white women, and there were aspects of it that I could relate to. We're talking about maybe sexism that they were experiencing or whatever, but I'm like, okay, I think about the other things I'm experiencing, and I'm like, yes, I go to work and I experience sexism, and then I also experience racism, and then I also, looking at everything, make even less money to do the same job. And so it's like the reasons I need to practice self-care, there's more to it than just what some of those main platforms are talking about. So I need to hear from people who are dealing with the same things I'm dealing with.
So you're not alone.
Yeah.
I think that's the key.
Yeah.
Because we feel alone. And we're not alone because there's somebody else that's dealing with the same thing. You know what I mean? And you're bringing awareness to that, which is so beautiful.
Thank you.
So you got the idea.
Yeah.
What did you do when you get the idea? Where were you?
Oh, where was I?
Yeah, where were you? Did you write it down?
Oh, I think I was at work at my 9 to 5 that I had at the time.
So your 9 to 5, you were in finance.
I was a social media manager at the time.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I was a social media manager at the time. So I got the idea. I got I don't know how woo-woo you are, but I'm pretty woo-woo. So I got what felt like a download, Balanced Black Girl, Make It a Podcast, wrote it down while I was at work, went home, immediately purchased the URL, immediately ordered a microphone off of Amazon, and launched the podcast 10 days later. I just jumped in. I didn't even...
You were like, you knew what you were doing.
I was like, this is what I'm going to do. Spent the next 10 days launching the podcast, reaching out to people to interview, building a new website, and just launched it.
Were you nervous? Were you excited?
Oh, I was terrified.
How were you feeling?
I was terrified. I thought that I was basically going to lose my audience that I had built and had to start over is what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah.
The opposite happened. People rallied around it, were so supportive. If anything, my audience has exploded since then.
Yeah.
But I was terrified.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you know how the podcast world worked? I mean, you were in Seattle at this time, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had no idea.
So you did a lot of research.
A ton, yeah.
Do it on your own, and you still produce it on your own, which is so. I give so much praise to people that produce their own podcasts. It's a lot of work.
It is.
It's not easy, and I think people that listen and watch podcasts, they think it's it's just great content, but it's a lot of work.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. There's a lot of work that goes behind them creating dope ass content for your listeners. So Cheers to you, dude, for doing that.
you.
All of it. Who was your very first podcast?
Oh, my very first one. So my first couple of podcasts were solo episodes. I did one that was just kind of introducing myself, introducing the idea.
Which is so smart.
Yeah, just so that people could like have a reference point.
Yes.
And then I'm all about repurposing things. So I took a couple of my old blog posts from the Balanced Berry that were more advice driven, and I basically like read them.
No, that's a great idea.
Just to get something out there.
Yeah.
And then I did that for maybe the first like 3 or 4 episodes. And then I started doing interviews. And so the first woman I interviewed was my friend Chrissy King, who is amazing.
Awesome.
She's another incredible Black woman in the wellness space who has also been very vocal about the importance of inclusion in wellness for a long time. I reached out to her as soon as I got the idea. I was like, Chrissy, I have this idea. Here's what I want to do. Will you be my first guest? And she was like, of course. So that interview always holds a special place in my heart.
That's amazing. You know what I love that you said you repurpose? I do that shit all the time.
Totally. No one's going to read my old blog post from 2014.
Sometimes I'd be like, nobody ever reads my blog post. And I remember when blog posts were like a thing.
Yes.
And I took a lot of work. And I would write, and it would take me hours, sometimes days, to complete a blog post.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, I'm going to go back.
Blogging was so much harder than podcasting.
Oh my God.
Writing takes so much longer than
the editing,
speaking.
The images, all that stuff.
Yep.
And I could do this all day. I could talk to you all day long. Literally, I could talk to any person all day long on the podcast versus where it's blogging. It was just like, but repurposing content, I think it's something that people are scared to do. And I think a lot of people have to understand it's still great content and always feel comfortable to repurpose your great content. You created it.
Oh, yeah.
Repurpose it. And like for you, for instance, you started this dope ass platform off of that. That's so freaking awesome.
Thank you.
I'm so excited for you. What do you think right now needs to be changed in the wellness arena? Maybe through your experiences, interviewing these women.
Yeah.
When I interview women, I always find a commonality. Are there any commonalities within the women of wellness that have been on your podcast where you're like, there needs to be a change here?
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good question. Honestly, so many things. I mean, the first that comes to mind, at least at the time we're recording this, it's early March. So we just had February pass.
Yes.
February, Black History Month. I got reached out to be featured in a lot of different platforms. And I know a lot of women that I've interviewed did as well, which is great.
That's amazing.
And I will probably hear crickets until next December, January, when platforms start focusing on that again. Like, it's not a year-round thing for a lot of platforms. It is a February thing.
Only.
And I think that that's a problem. Like, it needs to be a continued conversation all year long, bringing in different perspectives of people from different backgrounds, different genders, different bodies, different abilities. I think we're starting to have those conversations, but there's still so much more that can be done there.
Wow, that's such a great point. What do you think brands can do? Do you think, they should be featuring all inclusivity, period, at this point.
Yeah.
But they still don't.
I think a lot of brands just don't think about it.
Yeah.
They just don't. They think of it as a special interest thing, not a this is important all the time thing. But it is.
Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Representation is important all the damn time.
Yeah.
In every wavelength.
Yeah.
Wow. I've never thought about that.
This was actually the first year that I feel like I really noticed it, having been on the other side of it, of like when I was getting reached out to participate in things.
And you noticed it, and you're just like, wow.
Yeah, and I was like,
I love that. So brands, it needs to not just be a February thing. It needs to be an every damn month thing.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And you're so damn right. Wow, that's so interesting. Now I'm thinking about like how my February went. You know what I mean? That's so interesting.
Yep.
Is there anything else that you would say that's common amongst the women in the wellness that you think that it's like time for a change?
Totally. I think I love right now that in terms of wellness and content in general, we're kind of taking a turn from everybody giving advice and trying to like be the loudest and being the biggest expert to sharing stories.
Yeah.
I think shows like yours, shows like mine,
Thank you.
just giving women space to share their stories, I think is more powerful than anybody trying to be an expert in anything.
I agree.
Because we own our narrative and we can talk about our experiences, and really, we kind of touched on this earlier, when we share our stories, that's when we know we're not alone. I think if there's anything I've learned, and I'm curious if you've experienced this as well, is that nobody is the only person to experience something.
Hell no.
None of us.
None of us.
For nothing.
Zero.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
We've all experienced the same shit.
Yep.
The thing is that we just don't talk about it.
Exactly.
And for many reasons.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's a shame.
Yeah.
And it makes me so sad. And that's why we have podcasts like Girl, We Got This and, you know, The Balanced Black Girl to share these narratives that need to be told.
Exactly.
I feel like we all struggle, but we could all struggle less if we share our stories and help each other from our struggles.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
And we can own our stories as well.
It's nothing to be shamed about.
Yeah.
You know, because I feel like as a woman, especially, every failure is a lesson. And we go through a lot of shit. But we get back up and stronger than ever. I've said this before on the podcast. I've never met a woman that wasn't strong. Diane von Furstenberg quoted that. And it's true.
Yeah.
So why aren't we sharing it more and being more real and more raw?
Yeah.
The time is now more than ever.
Yeah. And why do we assume everyone else's lives are easier than ours, or that everyone else's, we all know we're all on Instagram doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So why do we still assume that that's like reality for everybody?
Yes.
We know it's not.
We know it's not.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, and I think it's cool. There's two women right here that are bringing that narrative to life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And bringing it to surface, because that's what needs to be talked about. I mean, Les and I were just at the elevator and we were talking about like our week. And I was like, bro, I've been in low-key, I've been in a rut, you know? I had a lot of work going on. Emotionally, I've been all over the place. And I was like, bro, it's Mercury retrograde. And Les was like, yeah, dude, same.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel that so hard.
Yep.
And then it's like, well, why didn't I reach out to somebody? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
While I was
Yeah.
going through this
Yeah.
time. You know what I mean? Some days I just lock myself in the room and I go through it by myself.
Yeah.
Or I'll write. 'Cause that's what I do therapeutically.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting. And it's a little thing where it's DMing or texting a girlfriend being like, yo, how are you feeling, dude?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's little things like that.
Exactly. I'm learning the same lesson.
Are you?
Yeah. It's hard.
It's so interesting.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. So Balanced Black Girl was born in Seattle. You brought it to LA.
Yeah.
How are you feeling it with the growth in LA, being new here?
Oh my God.
How's the
so
response?
Good. I mean, I feel like being in Seattle, I was in kind of a vacuum. I mean, Seattle has less of a diverse population. And so I had tapped out that wellness scene pretty quickly versus coming to LA. I mean, there's wellness everywhere. Every event that I go to, anytime I do something that I'm remotely interested in, I connect with a dope person who I can either learn something from or work with or put on the vision board to one day work with if it's not the right time.
I do that too.
Yes. So that's been the most amazing thing is I'm like, wow, now there's so much more possibility in what I can do.
You're in the city of dreams and you literally have everything's attainable here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm so happy for you.
Thank
I'm
you.
so glad that it's continuing. I mean, wellness here is huge.
It's everything. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. And you are literally in the best city.
Yeah.
In the best time. And you are at the time where, you know, diversity and inclusivity needs to be heard. And there's no better time than now.
Exactly. And people are finally like open to hearing about it too. People are listening.
Yeah.
Which is even better.
How do you feel about that? Like, I always ask my girlfriends that have podcasts, I'm like, do you like check the listeners? Do you like make sure like the listeners are up? Like, how do you feel when like, you know, people are listening to you and what you're bringing to the table? How does that make you feel?
It's so weird. I forget sometimes. I forget because I'll just do something and I'll put it out in the world. And then usually when I'll get something back of someone reaching out, I'm like, I don't even know this person. This person listened. It's not my mom. I'm like, I don't even know her. And she found it. And that's when it's always so surreal. But when I get those messages from women, just talking about how it's helped them, how it's helped them through a situation, or how they now take better care of themselves, or they're going to the doctor for the first time in years, or they're wearing sunscreen for the first time and they've never done that before. Stuff like that. I'm like, wow, this is impactful. This is why I do this.
And I think that's the biggest thing. You're making an impact and you're changing lives. Is there any one moment where a specific listener was like, you changed this that you will never forget?
I mean, some of the examples that I just had were like amazing. I'd once gotten an email from a woman, I mean, basically just saying that she had been really struggling and had been burnt out for years. And she is finally now starting to prioritize herself and stand up to people in her life and how much better she feels. And I was like, I mean, I cried.
And that's all because of the Balanced Black Girl podcast.
Because they felt like they had something to relate to.
You know what I mean? Like, moments like that makes you so fulfilled. Like, because sometimes, you know, like you said, we record and we put it out there. That's all we do. You don't feel the immediate, you know, fulfillment when you create content.
Yeah.
Until you get responses like that.
Yeah. And I have to check myself too, because as a content creator, I'm like, I put it out and I'm like, okay, on to the next. I'm always like, boom, boom, boom.
Right.
Especially for continuous content that sometimes I forget. And getting to hear from listeners, getting to hear from the community really helps me put that into perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, getting feedback, getting real feedback and raw feedback is the only way we can grow our platforms. Yep. So like to all of our listeners, like thank you for your feedback and your reviews and your shares and everything, because that's how we grow and that's how we get to continue to impact our community.
Exactly.
Honestly and truly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How do you feel about, I know you probably heard about the honeypot situation.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you how you feel about this. So to brief you listeners on the honeypot is a Black-owned business. She appeared in Target and she had a dope-ass commercial out. And the ending was something along the lines of, now when a Black girl comes here, she knows that she can dream as well.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It was something, she said,
I don't know verbatim.
I don't either, but it was something along the lines of like, when young Black girls see my product on a shelf, they see that they can execute their dreams as well. If they have an idea for a business, they can see that it's possible to be out there.
It was along those terms.
Something like that.
Totally.
I added way too many words.
Same
but
thing.
But it was something along those lines.
And they literally took it off air. It's off.
I think so.
Yeah. Because there was all this backlash and racist comments about that one comment.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? Because, you know, I was wondering, do people think that because of the title of your podcast? Do people, is it really that significant still in our world? First, let's get to the Honeypot Co.
Yeah.
What do you feel about that situation?
Yeah, so that's super interesting. I was reading a lot about it on Twitter a couple days ago, because that was where I saw it. I saw people posting about it on Twitter. And I was reading through some of the comments, which can be like a scary place. And it was interesting because it was interesting to see what people took that comment as. I took it very literal of a Black woman-owned business being in the largest retailer in the country can inspire other Black, young Black girls to execute their ideas.
Period.
That to me doesn't say anything about people who are not Black not being able to use the product. That doesn't say anything about other people not being able to execute their dreams and ideas. That to me says, I did this. People like me can now be empowered. But people took it as the opposite. People took that as, oh, it's racist. These products are only for Black people, this and that. And I'm like, under no circumstances was that said at all. And I think for anybody who was offended by that comment, it's probably a good moment to reflect on why. Why does giving young Black girls something to dream about and look up to bother someone so bad? And I usually, when I get kind of confronted with racist things, if I entertain it, I usually will combat it with a question. I'll be like, well, what do you mean by that? Well, tell me more about that. Because then it kind of forces the person who's saying it to reflect and to, then they start answering their own questions. And so that's what I would ask is I'm like, why is that so bothersome? Why is that such a bad thing?
It's so true. Literally, why?
Yeah.
And then you get your answer. Because I thought it was absurd. Honeypot Co. is an incredible feminine wash care product line. I use her products all the time. They're so amazing. Her products are unreal. And they're for every woman. She doesn't discriminate against
slogan
anybody.
Is made for humans with vaginas by humans with vaginas. That's the most like inclusive
First of all,
most inclusive motto ever.
That's the best motto ever, too.
Yeah.
Literally made for humans with a vagina is for humans with a vagina. Yeah. It's for all of us.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's inclusive.
Yeah.
Sometimes like it just makes me stop and think like people are fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And it's sad. Because sometimes in my life, I feel like we've made progress in certain places. But then moments like this, I'm like, yo, we still have so much work to do. Why do people still feel so strongly?
I mean, the silver lining is the sales are like through the roof for Honeypot. And
Yo,
I think it has sparked so many, it sparked so many important conversations. And so.
Yeah. it's just going to help, do the
wrong with
change that's
people.
needed because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
And I thought about that, and I thought, okay, so Les might deal with the same thing with the Balanced Black Girl podcast.
I have at times. Yeah.
Do you? Yeah. Because I was like, I
Yeah.
wonder if she has like people that confront her about that. Period.
Not as much on my platform directly because I think because my platform is still smaller,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like an indie podcast that I produce myself. So it's like the people it appeals to are either Black women
Right.
who see themselves represented or people who consider themselves allies who want to learn more are the ones who are drawn to it. I have had experiences where I've either worked with brands on sponsored content and then a brand will like promote something that Balanced Black Girl is doing on their larger platforms and being promoted to a larger audience of like all different kinds of people. Then they'll have comments of be like, well, why does it have to be this? Actually, I had the most amazing moment last year. Got to meet Michelle Obama with a group of some of the Balanced Black Girl ladies. I had a book club in Seattle around Balanced Black Girl, and we got to have a book club meeting with Michelle Obama because we read Becoming.
Congrats.
It was amazing. And so her team. I don't think Michelle was in the back writing the Instagram caption, but maybe. But her team was so great. And they wrote this beautiful caption from her all about what it means to be a balanced Black girl, because I got to ask her that question. And so like posted it on her platform. Obviously, she has the biggest platform in the world. And so, yeah, there were totally a lot of people in the comments who were super upset about that language of balanced Black girl. Like, why does it have to be a Black girl? Why can't it just be balanced? And I'm like, because it's Michelle. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think on those larger platforms where it reaches kind of anybody and everybody, that does happen. I will say thankfully, and hopefully it stays this way. I don't get a lot of that in my corner.
Good.
Because I think the people who it's meant to appeal to, it
appeals
does.
to.
Yes.
Period.
Yes.
And I feel like you have the best comeback. You ask them. Why did
I ask questions. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why you mad?
Yeah. Why you mad, bro? Actually, that's the realest thing you could say.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing it for, and you know your purpose, and you know your mission.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's the key to any business.
Yeah.
Stick to the mission.
Yep.
You can't entertain anything or anybody else.
Yeah.
Because I feel like white women can listen to it too. Asian women can listen to it too.
And they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Anybody can listen to the podcast. The people that take offense to something, they have another issue.
Yeah.
And it's not yours.
Yeah.
Period. End of story.
Exactly.
So with that being said, what is a balanced Black girl, Les? I mean, you asked Michelle Obama. Let me ask the creator herself, Les. What is a balanced Black girl?
Totally. This is like one of my favorite questions, and I usually ask it to most of the guests on the podcast. I have interviewed some women of color who are not Black women, and so usually I'll phrase it a little bit differently because I think that balance is an individual thing. I think each of us can have our own definition of balance depending on what's going on for us. But for me personally, my definition of being balanced is being really in tune with what my needs are and giving myself what I need in that moment. So there are going to be some times where I can be workaholic, killing it at work, doing all the things, or super social, work in the room, networking every night. And there are some times where I need to retreat and chill.
I feel that hard.
Yes, that's currently my mode. And knowing how to check in with myself and give myself what I need at each moment to feel my best is how I define balance.
That's incredible. That's the definition of balance, what you just said, honestly. I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's balance.
Yeah. I mean, people think that it's all things in equilibrium, and I disagree with that.
No,
I don't think
I agree.
everything is ever in equilibrium.
I don't think that can actually coexist.
No.
I mean, if it does, great life you freaking have, dude.
Congrats.
Because like, honestly, like, congrats, you've achieved what we've all been trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's hard. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And
it ebbs and flows. I mean, it's kind of like what we were talking about beforehand about cohabitating.
Yes.
And you were kind of saying like you're super busy with business and like all of these other things going on, that's not something that you yet are thinking about.
Right.
But when you do think about it, your definition of balance is going to be totally different. And that's okay. It's going to adjust because life has adjusted.
Everything's always in limbo and everything's always changing. We're always evolving. So what balance might mean to me today might mean something different to me tomorrow. Because when I was coming here, I was like, what does balanced Black girl mean to me? Because I feel like I'm off balance right now. I'm that off balance Black girl. I'm not balanced. Like, I'm just not to be 100. You know what I mean? Like, I told you Mercury retrograde has got me. I had a lot of business stuff last week and some emotional things I was going through. And I was just like, I'm off.
Yeah.
right now I'm not balanced. So I got to listen to the balanced Black girl right now to get back on my shit. Real talk. Because I feel like people need to know. They probably look at us and think we're always balanced or we're always got it together. Dude, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Les, but like I'm off some days. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Some days more than I'm balanced.
Yep.
But it's always the comeback. Yep. You know, it's always how do you get back to that balance?
Exactly.
So with that being said, when you feel off, how do you get back?
Yeah. Oh, that's such a good question.
Yeah.
I actually just posted on Instagram, or I posted a story about this yesterday that a lot of people responded to and really appreciated because I've been really overwhelmed the past couple of weeks. And I posted basically a story that was like, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Here's like bullet point by bullet point what I'm doing with it. So in this instance, it was focusing on the things that are like must do's and not worrying about things that can wait. I recently had some cool opportunities come up that I just had to say no to for my health, for my well-being. And I said that it was hard for my ego, but good for my health because that's how it was. It would have required me to travel. It would have just put a lot of stress on me that I just couldn't take. And I had to say no, and that was hard, but it's going to help me feel less overwhelmed in the long run. And I asked for help with some things that I was stuck on, like the bullet point by bullet point, like that's what I did. And then once I did all of those things, I took myself to the beach and like meditated because that's why I moved to LA. So I could do that. And in that instance, when I was feeling off balance, like those are the exact steps I took just yesterday to feel better.
To get back on track.
Yeah.
And I think that's so powerful. You have to have a plan, a get back up plan. I always say that.
Yeah.
I have a get back up plan. I always literally have to tell myself, girl, I got this.
Yep.
You know what I mean? In my lowest lows, that's how this podcast became. It was because I always told myself, I got this. Like, I got this. And then I found my tribe and I was like, we got this. And then I was able to get back up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's so key. And I think for our listeners, you know, having a plan and being aware of what you're going through, first acknowledging, it's always the key.
Yeah.
And knowing what makes you strong enough to get back up after you're off.
Exactly.
And take that time for yourself and not feel shameful in doing that.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like that? Do you ever feel like as a working woman, as an entrepreneur, you always have to go, 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 go? And like you can never like take a break because you feel like FOMO or you're missing out on something? Like you just said, low key, like you didn't take those opportunities.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Because
usually when I have downtime.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, my brain.
No, you're a good girl.
In the brain. Whenever I take downtime, I do struggle with guilt of like, man, I should be getting work done. Or if I weren't taking this time to like lay in bed and read, I could be doing something to make myself so much more successful. I could be getting ahead, and I'm constantly working to reframe those thoughts of no, actually you laying in bed and reading, you letting yourself sleep in is productive.
Yes.
Because when you do those things and you recharge, that's when you have the energy to do what you need to do. And these past couple of days, I pushed through that and I was like, no, I got to do it. I got to grind. And I crashed hard. And that's when I was like, see what happens when you don't allow yourself time to recharge.
And it's a lesson learned. Don't feel shame.
Nope.
Learn from it.
Yep.
Learn what you just said. You crashed and then you got back up. And I think that's the key to life for all of us. You know what I mean? Like I crashed. You know what I mean? I'm still low-key in the crash mode, to be completely honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I know this weekend I'm going to go and take my time and get myself back up. You know what I mean? I'm going to do my less plan. I'm going to plan it out and I'm going to Laguna Beach this weekend. That's my beach, dude.
Yes.
I feel you on the beach. The beach, the water, the waves.
It's instant.
Yeah. It kind of just sets me at ease. And like nothing matters in that moment.
Yep.
It's just water. It's it for me.
Yeah.
So I'm going this weekend to kind of like rebalance and get back to that balance of Black girl.
Yep.
Because that is me.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But it's okay if you're not balanced right now. And it's okay to not be okay.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the way to get back.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And I think it's okay to have FOMO too. Like I've had to tell myself, FOMO didn't kill you. You've had FOMO about a lot of things, and you still
Did
here.
You die?
You didn't. No, you didn't do XYZ. You weren't invited to XYZ. You'll be all right.
Yeah,
you're still breathing.
It's okay. Literally, it's okay.
Yes,
it's so true. Because in that little moment of time, in that moment of space in our life, we feel like our world revolves around this little opportunity, or a huge opportunity. And in the grand scheme of life, in things, it's so small and minor.
They come and go.
Yeah. And as long as you're on your path, as long as you're being purposeful,
Yep.
as long as you're living in your light,
Yep.
they're always going to keep coming.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I'm a huge believer that what's for me will not miss me.
Yes.
It won't.
I like that. Can you say that one more time?
Yeah. What's for me won't miss me.
One of my girlfriends told me that.
Yeah.
When I was going through a breakup.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, you're right. You're right. Let him miss me.
Yep.
Yeah. It's fact.
Especially then.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. But it's true. What's for me will not miss me in
Yep.
every aspect of life.
Exactly.
And I truly, truly believe that. I want to go back and talk about some of your struggles in 2018.
Yeah.
I like to hear people's journeys. You know, I talk about my journey, relationships to, I just lost my grandfather, getting back up from that.
Yeah.
You know, do you want to share a story, whether it was the relationship or the loss of your grandmother? How did you get back up and how did that affect you? Because I know a lot of us go through loss and heartbreak, job, getting laid off.
Yeah.
Can you touch on one of those situations? I know there was a lot, or all of the above.
Saturn return kicked my butt. That was my Saturn return, and it was really rough. Yeah, I mean, that's such a good question because I think in a lot of ways I'm still kind of working on it. I'm still working through those things because at that time my response was to immediately lean into work and to start overworking myself.
Same thing, Les.
Yeah, like I worked through those things by starting Balanced Black Girl and having this idea for a podcast and jumping in and launching it 10 days later and going nonstop until literally now I'm like starting to really process a lot of those things.
It's a distraction.
Yeah.
We distract ourselves from healing and facing realities that we have to face.
Oh, yeah. 100%. It's funny because I just had a really good kind of growth and healing moment this past weekend. So I had a really bad breakup. Well, the breakup started in 2017 and took us like a full year to actually break up.
Girl, been there, done that.
Started in 2017, ended in 2018.
You're not texting him anymore.
Exactly.
You know
until you just block and be blocked and be blessed.
Yeah.
And so my way of dealing with that when my heart was broken was to just completely cut him off, not talk, not acknowledge it, not acknowledge that I was hurt, not acknowledge that he even existed.
Was
just
it a long
pretend like he
relationship?
didn't. Yes, we were together for like 4 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so my way of dealing with it was to just completely ignore him and just act like he didn't exist, like the relationship didn't exist. I don't need him. I'm not sad. I'm not upset. Just completely. In 2018, that was what I did.
Right.
Girl, won't you know, this past weekend, I was in Seattle and ran into him. And I hadn't seen him in 2 years. And neither of us even live in Seattle. We both just happened to be in Seattle and happened to be in the same spot. Like he was at the bar of the hotel I was staying in.
Wow.
Randomly. Neither of us even live in Seattle anymore. And naturally in that moment, I saw him and I shut down and I didn't really acknowledge him. We both like saw each other and were like, and then just kind of went our separate ways.
Wow.
And I was like, don't do this again. Acknowledge it. Like, acknowledge what happened. And so I reached out to him and I texted him and I was like, hey, I think we were both probably pretty shocked to see each other.
Definitely.
Assumed you're in town celebrating your birthday. Like, happy birthday. Hope all is well with you. Basically, just to acknowledge it.
That's really big of you.
Girl, because normally
I'm proud
not.
of you.
I've
been there, girl. I'm proud of you for doing that.
Thank you. I was so proud of myself. I was like, I don't do things like that.
Yeah.
I don't acknowledge like, hey, I saw you and hey, this is weird. And like, you know, and it totally ended up being like totally fine. And then I was over it. But if I would have still been ignoring it, acting like it didn't happen, I'd still be festering over it days later. And it would, you know.
It would be eating you up.
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah. And now it's like,
It's because you're evolving.
Yeah. That growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you think that you'll ever talk to him about the breakup or anything? Did you ever have that
That's a good
closure?
question. Not really. No, not really. I don't think so. I feel like I think I have the closure that I need. Honestly, I don't know if he does or not. He is definitely the more kind of emotional of the two of us and the more like wanting to talk about things than me. I mean, maybe. I don't know if there's really anything else that I feel like I need though. Honestly, I think what just happened was kind of the last, even just acknowledging it and acknowledging him and acknowledging how funny of a situation that was. And, you know.
How ironic.
And I made fun of him. I was like, you look like you saw a ghost. Oh, you kind of did. And, you know, just like poked a joke. Yeah. And poked a joke at it and, you know, and let it just kind of diffuse. But I, even a year ago, in the moment didn't do that.
Yeah.
And, you know,
a lot of us don't. We don't face our issues because we're scared or we're nervous or we don't want to feel the feelings.
Yep.
You know, I was in a relationship for a long time too, all my 20s.
Yeah.
And it was a breakup, like you said, same thing. We broke up, we weren't broken up. It was on and off. And it's, how do you deal with it?
Yeah.
Heartbreak, you know, to all of our listeners, it's normal. It happens to all of us.
Yeah.
We all cope differently. And like you said, we all heal differently. Healing is not linear. I want everybody to know that. Heartbreak is so much stronger than what I say it to be. Heartbreak hurts and it's hard. It's not easy.
Yeah.
I still go to therapy, you know what I mean? To help me through, you know, everything, all of my losses in life. Because, you know, I feel like when you're with a human being for so long, then you just don't coexist with them. Isn't that wild? Like, you ever think about that?
Oh,
How much you shared with another human being.
Totally.
And then for all of a sudden something happened and it's not there.
Gone. Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Totally. I mean, that was something that I actually really struggled with in that situation because I had reached kind of my final straw with him. And that was when I kind of blocked, cut off. And then a few weeks later was when my grandmother passed away. And so I was in this state of grief of grieving both of them. And when she passed away, I felt like I don't even have anyone to talk to. He was my best friend.
Right.
It's not healthy for me to talk to him right now. And so I'm just going to kind of sit with this. But the state of grief that I felt in that moment, kind of grieving both of them, was really, really hard.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
That's 2 major losses.
Yeah.
Wow, Les. How did you bounce back?
I started going to therapy at that time.
I'm proud of you. That's awesome. I mean, that was the key for me too.
Like, I got to do something.
Yeah. You need help.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we're so scared to ask for help. It's okay to need help.
Yeah.
We all need some sort of help.
Yeah.
Therapy was the key for me too.
Yeah.
I'm so glad therapy helped you through it, dude, because feeling alone is the worst feeling. I remember being depressed in my bed. I would have headaches to the point where I thought my head was going to explode. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Crying all the time, not wanting to do anything. My girlfriends would come over and lay with me in bed.
Yeah.
And I had to pick myself up. And I literally every day would say, you got this.
Yeah.
You got this.
Yeah.
I found a therapist. After I moved to LA, I got in my car and I moved to LA.
Yeah.
Found a therapist and started healing.
Yeah.
And started that process. But, you know, I wanted to share this story because I want people to know, like, no matter what you're going through, we're all going through something.
Yeah.
Some harder than others.
Yeah.
Some lighter than others.
Yeah.
You know, we all have had our super lows. So we can share our stories and help each other get through it.
Yep.
You know, and therapy was the key for you. So I'm so thankful that was able to guide you through healing.
Yeah.
And as you said, you know, you lean into work.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like an easy way.
It is. Well, it's praised because I call it's like productive trauma and society will praise us for that. Like, oh my gosh, she's so dedicated. She's so about her business. Like, no, she's deeply traumatized and running through her problems and turning to exercise or turning to work, but we get praised for it. And so then we keep doing it.
Yeah. Because she's still going. Wow. That's such a good ass point.
Girl, only because I've done
you got
it.
me thinking right now. I'm like, damn, that's
only because I've been doing it.
Yeah, that's
I've
me
done
too.
It. Yeah.
Because you keep going and people are so proud of you.
Yeah.
But it's so unhealthy.
Yep.
Because you in your soul and heart
Yep.
aren't actually full. You're just running off of work.
It's coming from the wrong place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, Les, I need a moment. Because now I'm over here thinking like, damn. Because it's true.
Yeah. We've all been there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we probably all are still going through it in some type of way.
Yep.
You know, because like that balance. How do you find that balance? I met a woman on the podcast. Her name is Tamara Lore. I had her on. She's an incredible businesswoman.
Yeah.
She told me, she looked at me. She's like, balance doesn't fucking exist. I said, what? She's like, it doesn't. You have to blend.
Yeah.
We have to blend in life because she's an entrepreneur. She's a mother. She's a wife. She's like the chairman. She's on the heads of so many huge programs and, you know, she has so many great titles to live up to. She has to blend everything in life because she literally can't balance.
Yeah.
And she's accepted that.
Yeah.
And so her thing was blending. And I that helped me too in my life where I'm like, okay, even if I'm off balance, let me blend what's going on in my life and let me figure it out.
Yeah.
But the key to everything is taking care of yourself first. With that, what do you think is the key for your healing? Is it you going to the beach? Is it therapy? Is it the podcast? What was the key to kind of get you out of times where you feel off balance?
Yeah, I'm definitely still learning. I think for me, it is not stuffing things down. I have a tendency to stuff things down, act like they're not bothering me, clam up, don't talk about it. And for me, even if it's like acknowledging my feelings to myself, because I used to do that a lot, it's just be like, you're fine, don't worry about it, you're not upset, this doesn't bother you. Thinking that things bother me is weak, you know? And even just acknowledging my feelings to myself and just not stuffing things down, whether I talk about it, whether I journal about it, whether I cry about it, just letting myself like emote has been huge.
That's so huge. Feeling the feelings and being okay to let them off. A lot of people do that. I used to do that all the time. I would hold things in. And you guys, you know, when you hold things in, they make you sick.
Oh, your body is tuned to all of that.
Did you ever? I got sick.
There have been some times I've gotten sick. Thankfully not like too sick, but times where my body is like slow down, burnout. I mean, when I took a step back from fitness, that was a big part of it. Was like, I just physically couldn't do the things I was doing anymore.
How was that transition? Transitioning from fitness to the balanced Black girl? Because, you know, when I sat here, I didn't even know you were in fitness, Les. I had no idea about this. I can only imagine the pace was different. The mindset was different. The clients, well, your community stayed with you because you're amazing, obviously. But how was that transition for you?
You know, what was really interesting is that my relationship with fitness, I've learned recently, was not as healthy as I thought. I thought I'm just very motivated and I just care about my health so much. No, I was using fitness because when I first started getting into fitness at the beginning of my career, right after college, I was very depressed. I was very unhappy. And so fitness was my outlet. It was the one thing that made me happy when I was very unhappy with my life. And so once I started healing more emotionally, I'm like, I still like fitness. I'm still active. I still exercise, but it's not the crutch I once thought it was when people thought that I was so fit and so motivated. And I learned that I actually don't care about fitness as much when I'm like emotionally healthier. And that's been like a big aha moment.
I mean, I'm having a aha moment right now with you. Because I think that's honestly a lot of women that I know get into fitness because of that.
100%.
When they're unhealthy, when they come out of a relationship, or when they're super down.
Down on your job. Feel like you maybe don't have the community you want. I was in a lot of friendships in my early 20s that just didn't feel authentic. So I was like, well, I'd rather just go to the gym than like hang out.
No.
Like literally, I would do things like that.
I'm sure people are doing that now.
Hated my job. And so going to the gym in the morning was how I got out of bed in the morning.
Wow.
But like it wasn't coming from a healthy place.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so incredible. And it's so cool that you can look back at that now and realize that and you're aware of that. And you can hold yourself accountable for that. Because I think that's what a lot of people that are dealing with that, because I'm sure there's some listeners right now that are like, damn, that's me. I'm that girl. What would you give that person advice that might be doing that right now, that is going to the gym to hide what they're going through?
I would recommend they start really having an honest conversation with themselves about how they feel before they go, while they're there, and how they feel after. Like, how do you feel before, during, and after? If it's you feel good before, you feel good during, you feel good after, great. If you feel really down and you're using it as a tool to escape in a way that's like not, that's too much, because we know the difference between like feeling a little stressed out, I'm going to run it off, versus I have something going on and I'm running away from it. We know the difference.
And you know it in your gut. You know it in your heart.
You know it. And your body will tell you, does your body feel worn down? Does your body want a break? Like, how do you feel before, during, and after, physically and emotionally? And start like being really honest with yourself about that. That's what I would recommend.
Yeah. I think that's so powerful, because a lot of people do that. A lot of women especially do that.
Well, and it's praised, kind of like the overworking. Then we think she's so healthy. She's so motivated.
She looks so good.
She looks so good.
After that breakup, she got back.
She's, you know?
I've done that.
Yep.
I've done that.
Oh, same.
But it's not healthy.
No. Emotionally or physically.
And that's just going to lead you down this path where it's going to be very inconsistent and inconsistent unhappiness, which is not the goal.
Yep.
Wow. I feel like, you know, fitness and wellness is such it's an interesting world for me. I'm not the most healthiest when it comes to vitamins and food intake and all that stuff. I can admit it. I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm a work in progress. My sister, thank God for her. She helps me. She got me off Chick-fil-A. She got me off all that shit. I'm gonna be 100 because I was that girl. I used to eat Chick-fil-A like 3 times a week. Because living in Atlanta, it was on every corner. And I was busy.
Yeah.
I get Chick-fil-A. I didn't cook that much, but I don't do that anymore. Okay, I don't. But the wellness world right now, there's just so much out there to learn from. There's so many products out there.
Yep.
It's so dope for me because jumping into it now, there's just so much. There's such a industry for me to jump into.
Yeah.
And listening to podcasts like The Balanced Black Girl.
Yeah.
You know, you guys give me so many different alternatives and ideas and things that I've never even thought of to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's really cool what you're doing, and you're creating the space for this community that needs this.
Thank you.
You know?
Yeah.
Keep killing it, man. I mean, I got to ask you more questions because there's so many things that I want to know about you personally, because I met Les at the expo.
Yeah.
And when I met her, I was like, she's so sweet. But I'm an energy person, and I can always feel if I'm going to click with somebody.
Yeah.
And I was like, she's special. And then I talked to Krista. Krista was like, I fucking love Les. Don't you know?
I love Krista.
Like, yeah, I love her. Like, there's so much about you that I don't know about that I'm learning just right now today with you. And it's so empowering. So thank you for inspiring me on so many levels.
Yeah.
I had hella aha moments. Podcasting is your focus. It is your everyday. It is what you do.
Yeah.
For people that want to start a podcast,
Yeah.
I know there's so many listeners that probably were like you, hated their job, but they found something that was lacking and they want to say, hey, I want to create a podcast like Les.
Yeah.
How do they start?
Yeah.
And how do they market it? And how do they become satisfied with their content?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I feel like that's the podcast world in a little quick nutshell.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, totally. I think the biggest thing when it comes to creating meaningful content, marketing it, growing an audience, is to do everything with the audience in mind. So every episode that I approach, whether it's something that I'm recording alone, whether I'm interviewing someone, I'm always thinking, what can my audience take from this?
Yes.
How can they be helped through that message? I want someone to listen to an episode of the podcast or to see something that we post on social media and to share it with their girlfriend who also needs to hear it because she's like, yo, this is exactly what we're dealing with.
Preach.
This is,
Do that all the
I
time.
want it to be that valuable. I think sometimes a lot of people can get very caught up in things being all about them. I just want a place to talk. And that's totally great. You can start a podcast just talking about whatever you want, but know that it's probably going to be harder to market if the listener doesn't feel like they're getting that value.
100%.
And so I've found that in growing Balanced Black Girl, it's grown the way it has and it's become what it has because it's meeting a real need, because listeners every episode can walk away either learning something new or feeling seen or feeling heard or having advice they can apply to their lives. So that would be my advice in terms of marketing and content creation, is to always do it with your listener in mind because they're the reason you're there. I think in terms of getting started, starting a podcast can be really, really simple. I mean, I create my podcast at home. I have a microphone. I record into like good old GarageBand. It's not super fancy. It is, I mean, I do the best quality that I can with what I have.
It sounds amazing.
Thank
sounds
you.
great, Les.
Thank you. And just putting it out there and just being really consistent. That's my
I think that's the key
Yeah.
too, for podcasting is consistency.
Yep.
And you're super consistent.
Thank you.
Congratulations on all of your episodes.
Thank you.
I actually, I screenshotted a quote because
Yeah.
I love your platform.
Thank you.
Balanced Black Girl Podcast. It's its own Instagram hashtag. So you guys can follow that on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
And you have some really dope quotes and you pull them.
Yeah.
So I want to ask what this quote means to you.
Yeah. I love it.
Sometimes the best boundary is simply not giving someone any of your energy.
Yep.
Protect your energy, baby girl.
Yes.
What does this mean to you, your listeners, your community?
Yes. I think it's so important that we are in control of who and what has access to us. Like the people that have access to us, the things that we're doing, all of the things that take our energy. Are we okay with where our energy is going? And do we have some sort of return? Not to say that everything we do should be to get something back. But if you are only giving your energy to people, places, or situations that are going to deplete you, it's not worth it. Right. And I think that a core part of taking care of ourselves is really protecting our energy and giving it to those who also have our best interests at heart. So
how would somebody find that? Because I find, you remember, like you said earlier, when you were young, you'd be around other women that you didn't want to give your energy to. How do people create boundaries in that?
Totally.
How do women listening to this right now that may be unhappy? What would you give them advice to creating boundaries in friendships? Because I'm dealing with this now. As a 32-year-old woman, setting boundaries with some of my friends. You know, as we grow older, we start working. Life becomes different. I'm not 20. I don't have free time. I don't have the time to always give you. I also run 2 to 3 businesses on my own. Right? So I have to set boundaries and give energy to what fulfills me first and foremost. Then family comes second for me, and then friends. You know what I mean? Work is at the top with myself because that fulfills me. How do women set boundaries between friendships?
Totally. It's hard.
Isn't it?
And it's something I'm learning too.
Yeah, me too, Les.
I mean, I'm learning to be honest with people, but to do it in a really loving way. I think that there's a lot of kind of content and information out right now that's very well-meaning around creating boundaries and protecting our peace, where it's like, no is a full sentence. And I'm like, yeah, it is, but you can also kind of be a jerk. Like if it's someone in your life that you care about, they're still worth an explanation. And I recently had a girlfriend who was relying on me very heavily for a lot of heavy emotional things. And we had a conversation about her kind of being on the hunt for a therapist, but she was coming to me for things that really she should be working with a therapist on. And I told her straight up, I was like, I just don't think that I'm qualified to really give you the advice you need right now. And I think when you find that therapist you're looking for, this will be a perfect conversation to have with them.
I love that.
Because it wasn't like, screw you, don't talk to me. It was just like, you need to take this to someone who can truly help you. And I cannot be that person for this.
It was out of love and compassion. It was honest. Because you can only do so much. You know what I mean? And as a grown woman, you have so much more life coming. I love my friends. I love my women. I love my tribe. I love my people. I love my family. But you have to love yourself first. Right? And I had the same situation happen. You know, a friend of mine was dealing with loss. I was dealing with loss. You know, she reached out and said, hey, I feel like you weren't there for me. And I said, hey, I'm sorry if you felt like that. That was never my intention. However, I'm going through loss too right now. I can't be that person that I was every single day for you like I always was. And I had to accept that. And for a moment, I felt bad. Because I took shame and like, damn, I'm not being a good friend. But then I was like, I have to take care of myself first. I'm grieving too. Beyond. And I had to sit there and be like, I was childish at one point. I was like, is she calling to ask me if I'm okay? You know, I reverted to that quickly. And then I was like, no, that has nothing to do with anything. How do you feel? Let them know how you feel. Say it with love, like you did. Say it with compassion. And if there's an honest, true relationship there, there'll be an understanding. So I think that's key for setting boundaries in friendships. I saw that quote on your Instagram and I was like, boundaries is something that I go up and down with. There's some shit with in life where a boundary is a no for me on some shit. You know what I mean? But there's some stuff where I'm like, damn, this is hard. But putting myself first and making myself that priority, you know, is something that I had to learn how to do. And it's you can't help people unless you help yourself first.
Oh, totally.
I always tell people that.
I mean, we hear that quote, don't pour from an empty cup. Sometimes we be trying to give, we don't even have a cup,
girl,
let alone anything in it. And we're still trying to give to others. And it's like, we physically can't.
And you're not balanced, girl. If you're doing that. So don't do that.
Balance.
It's so true, but we overthink these things or we just overpass it and just continue. And we have to really be conscious with ourselves. You mentioned manifestation earlier in the podcast. Are you a believer in manifestation?
I am, for sure. I feel that's 100% why I believe that I live here.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there one thing that you could be, besides moving to LA, something that you've recently manifested in your life?
Ooh, something that this is going to sound so ridiculous. I mean, I just feel like in moving to LA, I got rid of all of my belongings, like all of them. And I've kind of started over from wardrobe to kitchen things. Like if it fit in my Prius, it came down. If it did not, it stayed in Seattle and I let it go.
I'm proud of you, Les.
Thank you.
That's hard.
Honestly, I feel like what clicked in terms of manifesting my move to LA was being willing to let go of the physical belongings. As soon as I started giving away stuff, it all just moved into motion. Whoa. Literally.
See, I have issues with letting go.
It's hard.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so hard. Oh, I had a couch. Let me
tell me about the couch.
This stupid couch. I bought this couch like not long after I graduated from college. I had my boyfriend at the time, his sister owned a furniture company, and she let me order this like really nice couch from one of her wholesalers. So I paid like nothing for this nice couch,
which is amazing because couches are expensive.
They're very expensive.
So I hate couch buying.
Oh my God. My 22-year-old self had like a very nice couch that I only used for like a year or two because in my mid 20s, I ended up moving back in with my parents to like save money. So literally the couch, I didn't want to let it out of my possession. I didn't want to sell it. I didn't want to get rid of it. So I let it basically be in storage. I stored it at friends and family's houses all around the Seattle area. Like I refused, even when I was thinking I was moving to LA and I was like, cool. And then I can get a U-Haul and I can swing by so-and-so's house and pick up the couch. And I'm like, girl, you paid $300 for this couch in 2012. Let it go. Buy a new couch. You're 30 years old now. If you need a new couch,
so proud of you.
You'll figure out a way to get a new couch. And literally, as soon as I was like, I need to let go of the couch, it's ridiculous. Things in my life started moving because I was so held on to this like 22-year-old frame of mind that I was in as if I'd never get another couch. It's so dumb. And when I let it go,
everything started coming
together.
But it's true. It's those little things.
Yes.
Wow.
Because we're not just holding on to the physical thing. We're holding on to the emotions around it or the emotions that we had at the time of our life when we had the thing. And when we got,
it's so much deeper.
Yeah.
It's so deeper.
Yes.
But sometimes I think we blindside that aspect to be like, no, I just need it. I don't want to buy another one.
Yeah.
But no, that shit has stories.
Yeah.
It has life.
It does.
You know what I mean? So you really came here starting fresh.
I came here and I started fresh. And so I've been slowly kind of accumulating different pieces of my life. And so I've been really fortunate to get to like work with some really cool brands be able to like replace things over the course. So that's been my manifestation.
Dude, that's the best manifesting.
It's been great.
Especially when you're moving.
Yeah.
It's ridiculously awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Oh,
I'm so thankful that you got on the Girl We Got This podcast with me. I've been waiting for this.
Thank you for having me.
As soon as I saw you, I was like, she's special. Oh. Chris co-signed and I was like, you know what? She's it.
Oh.
The Balanced Black Girl podcast. Yeah. It's available. Is it available on all platforms?
Yeah, all platforms. Every other Tuesday. New episodes.
You hear that, guys? Every other Tuesday, tune in to the Balanced Black Girl podcast to get all the health and wellness with Les and incredible women sharing their truths and stories and helping you become the best you. I feel like this is what sisterhood is really about.
Yeah.
It's the tribe and it's helping each other because, dude, ladies and men, because men do this too.
They do.
We're not alone.
They should.
Yeah. You guys should.
Understand us
We're
better.
not alone. And girl, we always got this. Les, you got this. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to see like what's becoming. Like it's just new. Everything's new here.
Yeah.
And you're becoming, and it's so freaking awesome to see. So keep shining your light. We appreciate you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You got this, girl. We got this.
We got this.